like to call a creative challenge. So it goes like this. We present a prompt, and then you have the entire month to complete the prompt, and you'll find them all here. Here's some previous ones. The prompt is something different every single time. As you can see, they are all very different and all very strange. But it just gives you an opportunity to create something fun and unique within Sero Studio, learning how to use the product in a way that's a bit of a creative break from your day-to-day work. Upon completing any of the creative challenges, I should say the active creative challenges, you'll earn associated badges next to your profile on Educate. If you look at Kelsey here, she's got a fat stack of badges. Look at Nails here, he's got a fat stack of badges too. Look at mine, I've got a fat stack because I make them all, so I just give them to myself. But each month we present a new prompt. You have the entire month to complete the prompt. And then the following month's Creative Challenge webinar, as in today, we review the previous month's submissions, and then we get into our lesson, which today is on delivering effective design feedback, and then we will kick off the March Creative Challenge. And that's kind of how the flow works for these. They're really fun, they're awesome, and viewing the submissions each month, top 3 favorite parts of my job. So that is where we are going to start today. We're going to view the submissions for our February Creative Challenge. And if you didn't know, the February Creative Challenge was a unique one because it is the first Creative Challenge that has ever been created by one of your fellow community members. Anna Karina won a competition-based challenge back in November, and the prize for winning was being able to create a creative challenge based on anything that she wanted. So that's what we did in February. And the goal was to create a professional journey and interest map throughout like your, I'm explaining this terribly. I'm just going to read your prompt. Show us who you are at a glance. Share your professional journey and interests through an interactive and engaging resume to pique the curiosity of potential clients or employers. Super cool and super interesting. This resume could take the form of a multi-step journey, a map, a point and click. Let your imagination run wild. Fantastic prompt. So there were a few guidelines here: a title, a tagline about yourself, a timeline with at least 5 milestones, personal experiences, a few personal interesting bits about yourself, images or icons that illustrate the milestones, a CTA to contact you, and any additional bonus content you wanted to add. Upon submission, you received the Get to Know Me badge designed by Anna herself. So really cool badge for everyone who submitted those. We're going to start by reviewing our submissions. Then we'll get into today's lesson about delivering effective design feedback. We'll kick off the March Creative Challenge. So we're just going to start at the top and go right down the list. We will start with Meg's. I have seen maybe one of these, so they're all going to be new to me. Meg, the history of Meg. Ooh, this is very Meg. I would assume Meg probably created all of these icons herself because she's a fantastic illustrator. Love it very much. What I am doing with my life. So this is her timeline. I can already see there is a Meg loves Zelda. I can already see that there's an Easter egg here. Yup, knew it. The Master Sword. All right, so first step on her timeline, first Zelda game. As a kid, my brothers and I received an N64 and several games with Christmas, including Ocarina of Time. Goated. As you might be aware, this sparked my lifelong obsession with The Legend of Zelda. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Zelda's fantastic. And then after her obsession with Zelda began, she got her first job at a library. Not gonna lie, got this job with my best friend's mom. Didn't work there. It's fantastic. So 2005, Meg gets her first job at a library. This is a really cool, like, look at the different object states that Meg has employed here, right? Like, that's super cool. Very smooth. The hover states. Notice how the dot indicator moves from like space to space. Fantastic, simple, and smooth use of object states here. Amazing work, Meg. First design job in 2012 in a bizarrely easy fashion that makes today's job market look like a perfect nightmare. I got my first graphic design job by calling a print shop. Hey, my first was a print shop too. We'll get into that. Whose name I saw on the print on the back of a t-shirt. Incredible. Yeah, if only that could happen in today's job market, right? And then Meg got married and moved in 2018. Congratulations, Meg. That's awesome. Moved to Arizona and then first art show. What? Wow. Wow. First art show in 2021. That's really cool. Uh, well, it's still not a big moneymaker. It's been a delight participating in more shows and getting to know other artists and groups over the past few years. Well, hey, it pays off because everything that you've designed here is beautiful. And I love all the iconography and the graphics and the illustrations you always include in all of your designs. And then last but certainly not least, in 2023, introduced to Saros, and Meg has been a stellar community member since then. More stuff I love. Video games. How can you not? Art and horses. The three pillars of a happy life. Oh, four pillars and hiking. Can't go wrong with hiking, especially in a place like Arizona. And reading, the five pillars of a happy life. Fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, and suspense. Big reader. Amazing. That, yeah. So overall, like Meg's design is so cool because you look at kind of like the topography sort of prints here following a like abstract map theme, but just like the curves of these different zones reflect very well in these blobs that Meg has included here, which also correlate with this pop-up. So fantastic use of a timeline, the object states, especially for this like little dot indicator. The pop-ups are so good. Great work, Meg. What an inspiring piece of work. All right, moving on. We scroll down to Marianne's. Marianne just completed, I believe, two courses, two guide design courses at the same time. You animal. I love it so much. All right, Marianne, MAK Designs. Love the little profile pic that you have here. Oh, it's a scrolling experience. Really cool color scheme with the oranges, the magentas, the pinks. I love that you've got like the city, right? And here's your timeline with hover states. Look at these really cool hover states that she has here, like the spin and fade, like animation she's employed. Great. 1987 started my design career as a sign painter. That's so cool for a local drugstore chain. I love that sign painter. Around 1991, the advertising department got their first computer. I wasn't even born. 2013, favorite project being a part of a photo shoot on the roof of the Space Needle. Here it is. That's where she was. That's so cool. And then 2020, the local drugstore chain that I worked at is sold to a national chain. Wow. And then 2022 created my first Saros landing page. And then we come down here. She's got this awesome revolving interest wheel, gardening. She's also a fellow reader. Uh, that is super cool. Leona asked if she made those graphics in Saros or if she imported them. Yeah, this is an amazing experience. I love that like this rotates along with the wheel rotate. Oh, I like this icon. Are these icons you're talking about? Reminds me of Hey, Dunkin's makes fantastic coffee. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful experience. Love the bright colors. Very much, Marianne. You did a fantastic job. You get a badge. All right, moving on. Liana, our community managers have not seen this yet. Oh, but this is very this is like a first day of school type of experience, which I absolutely love with like the handwritten fonts here. My name is Liana. My job is community manager. My birth month is September. Happy birthday in 7 months. Um, I love the animations we got here. They're like, it's very much a, oh yeah, okay, I got it right. Like the worksheet you fill out the first day of school. I love the theme. It's fantastic. The dotted lines and everything like that. Life milestones, graduated college. Oh, nice. Look at that's a I love that picture. That's incredible. During the global pandemic and had a virtual hey, yeah. Starting at Saros, here it is. Back when we had an office, we're fully remote now. Adopted a puppy named Bean. She's absolutely gorgeous. So cute. And then moved to Lambertville, got an embedded map here. Just if you were wondering, as we all were, where Lambertville, New Jersey was, moving boxes, and then ran a half marathon. That is a milestone because that is not easy. I was trying to think off the top of my head marathon milestone. Couldn't do like the conversion of distance in my head fast enough, so I'll just let you know that I tried. She has a little section here about what she loves about the Educate community. And then my favorite TV show, friends, was a dolphin. I don't know why that's so funny. Why a dolphin? They're pretty. All right. Favorite ice cream flavors, anything with chocolate, favorite color is pink. I don't understand. I don't know why the dolphin's so funny, but this is a great worksheet style. Yeah, the dolphin just feels kind of random, don't you think? Great job, Liana. That was, that was really good. All right, now let's look at Nancy's. We love Nancy. All right. Really cool intro animations here. Beautiful logo. And then we have an interactive map. Oh. So the different places Nancy has been throughout her schooling and career. So got UX certified in North Carolina. Laura, you guys can meet up. Went to SCAD. Hey, Alex on our team went to SCAD for her master's and did her bachelor's. Wow, in Indonesia. This is really cool. I love the emphasis. That font is actually really cool. I love the emphasis put on like the dots on the eyes. Really clean design, very minimal. This is super cool. Love the icons. And this is a menu up here. Oh, fun. So what I love about this design that I wanted to point out is obviously really cool presentation on the intro, but the dots on the map, she was very consistent with the dots in her menu bar here, right? Like they look like they belong together. And I think that's a really, really cool way to do that. So amazing job, Nancy. And then just like having that contrast with these like glowing ones so you know exactly what we're looking on. But it's also just like a very minimal design and the dots, right, translate through to like the dots on the eyes, like I pointed out. Really cool design. Super minimal, super clean. Amazing work. All right, let's look at Alex. About me. Major milestones. Able to touch my toes at the age of 21. Hey, you know what? We'll call it a win. Graduated from college, graduated from grad school, adopted her dog, and got her first big girl job at Saros. She's on the Educate team. We love Alex. Interests, hobbies, animations, drawing. I love just the icons everywhere. And obviously, the carousel of dog pictures. This is her dog, Oscar. What a cute dog. What a just a meatloaf. He's got a cute sweater. This is fantastic. Here are pictures of my dogs he's used ever. I used to have a rabbit named Peanut, but his teeth grew super fast. They grew into his brain. What? This does not at all does not at all feel like it's consistent with the flowery and bubbly tone of this design. Oh my gosh. Rest in peace, Peanut. Jeez, that's amazing. Great work, Alex. And here's Travis's. Somewhere in here, Travis is gonna have something about Final Fantasy. What'd you bet? All right, so he's got his timeline, the life and times of Travis. Hey, Star Wars. If it's not Final Fantasy, it's Star Wars. Halloween for sure. Yeah, we got Travis bingo cards. His favorite movie, the sprawling space opera, Star Wars, 1999. There it is. Final Fantasy VII. Fantastic game. One of the greatest of all times, right? 2004, Nirvana, dude. Yeah. 2015, another Star. Is that you? I love that. This is Travis and his wife dressed up. That's super cool. But also, so similar to Meg's, which I wanted to point out also on the Educate team, is notice the object state of the dot moving from section to section and the object state of each of the milestones. So they don't change color until the sliding dot reaches it and essentially illuminates it. So watch it as I click on 2004. The object state of this dot will come here and illuminate the milestone. See? Boing. That's really cool. That's an awesome touch, Travis. Yeah, that's really cool. Like I think that's something anyone could incorporate in any sort of like timeline or process-based interactivity that they have on their Ceros experience. So that's a really cool. Yeah, great job. So cool. All right, moving on. Lisa's looking to get her first community badges. Awesome graphic with these hover states. Get to know me, explore the hotspots. Great instructions. She is an art director and UX specialist living in Dublin, Ireland. Welcome. I went to art college. So cool. I love this image very much. It's so cozy, right? It's very much fitting for all of these facts that Lisa has included here. And also like the great use of iconography. So what I want to point out about Lisa's is so think of like the color contrast, right? Like everything about her experience is extremely, from a visual standpoint, is extremely chill, right? Like chill would be the word. From like the coffee steam, right? Very nice touch to like the ambience of the light. Like look at the flame here on the candle. Like it's very chill. And so she contrasts that super well with these greenish, I'm kind of colorblind, these greenish hotspots here. So they pop out really well and they're just inviting you to hover. And so as you hover, what I want to point out is the consistency. So she has the line that connects to the hotspot or the pop-up matches the color of the hotspot area, and the icons for each of them are also consistent. So it's really cool how she's kind of um, allocated colors for certain things in her experience, and the kind of the cooler colors of the interactive bits contrast very well with the ambient and the warmer and the chiller colors of the background image. Really good job, Lisa. You get a badge. All right, moving on. Let's look at Sam's. Before we look at Sam's, I would also like to call out our new community spotlight space here in the community section of Educate. And the reason I call it out is because Sam is our first community member spotlight. So you can come check this out and see all these awesome bits about Sam, see some of the cool work she has created in Ceros, and obviously see some really cool community generated designs here. Awesome. You can even shout out peers here. You see someone on your team, someone in the community who's made a really cool experience. Give them a shout out here. But go check out Sam's work. Really cool. But here it is. Fiercely driven, ethically rooted, and blooming with purpose. I love it. Great color schemes here, pulled straight from this illustration or this drawing. Life events, great iconography. Born in 92, a proud Scorpio, born in early November. Sam, I was born in November of 92 as well. We're nearly twins. Went to high school, graduated with, wait, how do you get a, I thought 4 is the top. Can you get above a 4.0 GPA? I feel like that's cheating. Honors classes? I wouldn't know anything about that, but that's really cool. Went to college, moved to Texas from Illinois. That is a crazy flex. That's pretty sick. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. And then continued my education as a career professional. Started slow with online learning and grew to formal certification from Scrum Alliance as a Scrum Master. That's impressive. Love it. And then we scroll further down. Here's her interest sections. Rico, 50% of her time. Cookie, 22% reading. I actually like the bar graph of how much time each of your hobbies take up from your life. I think that's really clever. I'm an introvert, so I spend a lot of time thinking thoughts. Here's a breakdown. I love this very much. And then snowmobiling 6% of the time. Insane. And then here's her connections. Really cool hover states. Amazing job. So cool, Sam. Sick. When people took AP classes, the max went to 4.4. Okay. That's pretty cool. Meg says, love the bar graph. Yeah, the interest bar graph is the best thing ever. Get to know me, the KC Chronicle. So is this newspaper themed? It sure is. February Creative Challenge exclusive, the KC Chronicle. Newsworthy moments straight from the source. So this appears to be like a scroll to menu here, which we'll get back to. We'll go down and we'll come back up. So college, community, and not a single cup of coffee. Why? How did you get through college, even grad school without coffee? Really cool, like image manipulation with the hovers saturizing the color or the image here. That's really cool. And then now hiring grad school by day, book publish or pusher by night. Loves to read. And then here we go, calling all adventurers, Dungeons and Dragons connoisseur. Again, the object state. So I think everyone's done a fantastic job with the object states in their experiences. We go here and the die rolls, right? That's really cool. That's an awesome touch. And this is a carousel? Yup. Oh, no way. That's really cool. It's Sydney, Australia. Oh, that's super cool. Herding students instead of cattle. That's so good. That's super fun. And then oh wow. First time living in a snowy city? I love how many images you have included here. Like this is very, very graphic, and I love it. And I love the barcode too. And then here's her contact information, just subtle, but overall a great experience. Back to the menu. So I think she's probably employed. Yep, a scroll to position menu. So when you have a grid style layout like Kelsey is employed here with these different sections, having this menu helps your users navigate through it. Really cool. And like the consistency of all like the illustrations throughout your experience, the colors, the minimalness, very good. That's a good one. Go check that one out. All right, moving on. Kaylee's. No way. It's a Nokia. So if I push, did you guys hear the beeps? That's fantastic. Great use of SDK. Wow. So 1994. So it's just wait, I think I went the wrong way. Graduated university with a degree in music journalism. Got my first big break as a graphic designer. Got married. Became a member of the Saros Educate community. That's so cool. I love this so much. Oh, we got a menu. What? Kaylee, this is awesome. We'll get the snake. So reading, collecting vinyls, making. Oh, no way. That's so cool. Oh, she's got. And then gaming, patiently waiting for the release of GTA 6. Hanging out with my dog. She's got a cute dog. Oh, yeah. This is incredible. What? That's so cool. All right. Let's go to phone book. I'm assuming, yeah, this is her contact info here, right? Yep. And then play Snake. All right. No way is this actually Snake, right? Uh. What? Oh no! Wow, Kaylee, that is really, really cool. Wow, that is so cool. And then she's got like instructions here. What a cool experience. Great use of insane amount of object states in this experience, but also just like what a creative way to present like your professional portfolio. But also like the sound SDK is included. That is really, really cool. Meg just gave you 10,000 design points for that one. That's really cool, Kaylee. Amazing job. All right. That is all of them, but those were fantastic. Um, as you can see, if you're new to our creative challenges, these are really fun. Uh, the experiences we get to create are insane. So we'll kick off our March Creative Challenge in just a little bit, but thank you everybody for participating in the February Creative Challenge. You all have earned yourself the Get to Know Me badge designed by Anna herself. Those were super, super cool. So I'm excited. Everyone killed it as always. Great job, Educate Community, says Travis. Yes. If you didn't submit one yet, you still can and receive a badge. Leona's keeping the door open. She's the gatekeeper. The door is open, so you can still submit one if you haven't had time to submit one yet. Okay, so with our challenges out of the way, let's review what we're all here to talk about. Delivering and receiving effective design feedback. So I will start by posing a question to everybody here. Why is feedback an important part of your design process? Feedback can sometimes be scary, sometimes be intimidating, both giving and receiving, but it is crucial to any part of any design feedback or process. So in the chat, think about it for a second, and then let us know why you feel like design feedback or feedback is a part or important part of any design process, and why it is vital to creating effective designs and being efficient with your design process. Travis says it can refine the design so it can better achieve its goal. Important for growth and collaboration. It's necessary so we can learn and get better as designers. Very true. Feedback helps you grow as a creative. Design is communication. It clarifies the message. Due to time spent, I am usually too close to my design. And Callie, first of all, Callie, welcome back. Long time no see. Second of all, that is the truest of all the statements I've read today. That is insane. You get so wrapped up in your design work that you just almost get disoriented and you get like design blindness, right? And so getting fresh eyes on it is so helpful. You always need other opinions because we all have blind spots. Yes, Lisa. And slash too close to design. Exactly, right? So these are all fantastic reasons. We all have biases. Yes, we do, and tendencies that we can be blind to. It helps to have someone with different perspectives that views things differently. Very true. It's super easy to miss things, and it's nice to get feedback to improve as designers. It's super, yeah. So obviously, we all understand, this is kind of a pulse check. We all understand how vital feedback is to our design process. And the things that I jotted down last night, I feel like correlate very well with the things that y'all just put into the chat. Collaboration, iteration, innovation, creative alignment from like cross-team alignment, right? Like that's a huge one. Sometimes you're working with your marketing team who's working with the design team who in our case is working with an education team, right? And so to ensure that we are on brand, that we are consistent with our voice and whatnot, feedback is a massive, massive part of making sure that we are completely aligned. Also clearer direction. I think someone put that in there somewhere. Like the communication that comes from it is so great. So it's like you're not spending a lot of time working on something that's completely off base. And then you get that feedback and then you're like, well, we got to start over, right? Consistency from design to design. Multiple people pointed out improvement, both in terms of the project or the initiative, but also you as a designer. Like, as a new designer, it's intimidating because I feel like anyone who's ever been a new designer or has worked in the design realm to any degree, when you first start, you have like the craziest imposter syndrome, right? Like, and I feel like that is one of the hardest things to shake as a designer is just feeling like you're not that good or you're not good enough and people are going to hate your work. It's like design is actually a pretty vulnerable uh space to work in because you are creating something based off of your imagination, your skill sets, and then you have to go get it critiqued. However, we all know that it's very important to separate yourself from your work. So when someone is critiquing your design or giving feedback design, they're not necessarily critiquing you or your abilities, but more so trying to help you improve and help you, again, be more aligned, be more iterative, collaborative, and consistent with your designs. Increases faster turnaround times. Meg says we still have it. Everyone does, right? Everyone just makes something, they're like, this is trash. And then people actually like it. Concise communication, and of course, better design results. Feedback is an crucial part of everything. And that goes for delivering it, but also receiving it. It goes both ways. So with that stage set, we're going to talk about tips for delivering effective design feedback, and then we'll get into tips for receiving effective design feedback. So tip number, and these are kind of like broad tips, and you can kind of like branch those off into different things. But tip number one is to be direct, but be thoughtful. So we'll break that down into two chunks, right? First is being direct with your feedback. If you are giving someone feedback and you're afraid that you might hurt their feelings, or you're afraid that you might come across too sharp, or you're afraid that it might hurt their confidence or the team morale or whatever it might be, just know that being direct is going to be so much more helpful than kind of beating around the bush or giving them extremely fluffy feedback that doesn't really say anything, right? We've all received that feedback that's been like 6 or 7 paragraphs long, and you read and you're just like, what are you even talking about? Right. So it's important to be very direct and very focused on what you're trying to point out, but at the same time, don't be rude. So here is an example of direct but unthoughtful feedback. I present this design to you, and you say, it's giving Hollister. The Gen Z people on my team should be very proud of me for coming up with it's giving by myself on my own. So uh, this is direct, but it's not very thoughtful. It's kind of rude, right? It's kind of like, okay, that's not super nice. So if you were trying to portray to them that maybe we're just a little off the mark here with this design, how would you deliver this feedback in a more thoughtful way? Give it some thought, and then maybe if you have an idea in the chat, post it of how you could be more thoughtful in telling them that, like, yeah, maybe this is a little too green and too Hollister feeling without saying it's giving Hollister. I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Feedback's tough, and it's kind of hard to put it together. It's giving it it giveth Hollister. I don't think that's any better. That's just strange. That is good. Uh, Chris says, wait, no, you're cooking. Maybe watch, everyone's gonna start giving feedback after this and just say it giveth, and then they receiveth your feedback. All right, we'll move on to the next one. This was a warm-up one, and I was like, this is kind of a hard one to start with. All right, Sam's got an idea. The tree on the left is blending too much with the image and does not have enough contrast. Hey, that's a good one. It feels a little too staged. Let's try some images that are a little more relatable to everyday people. That's a great one, Callie. Every time Callie shows up, she just drops these knowledge bombs on us. Yeah, those are both really, really good ways of presenting direct feedback. Like if you notice, Sam and Callie both said very direct things. My chat is getting so long, I need to like downsize the window here so I'm not like reading in the bottom screen in my corner. But those are both very direct points of feedback that I don't think come across rude in any way. So great job with both those. We're going to try again, but we're going to move on to design tip number 2. Give it effort and be detailed in your feedback. Like that's pretty self-explanatory. On the opposite end of the spectrum of like really fluffy, useless, indirect feedback is like short and worthless feedback that just like doesn't make any sense. Like how many times have you received this? Feels wordy, right? Like that's not helpful in any way. Like that could also feel direct and maybe a little unthoughtful, but it's just rushed and it's not like offering any sort of detail. I've said it myself too much. We can jazz it up. Hey, there you go, right? Um, so like something along these lines is you've probably seen this experience in a course or something right like that, right? This is a teaser experience for Moab, one of my favorite places on earth, but it's a teaser, so it's supposed to be like concise and short. So instead of just saying feels wordy, you can say, hey, like, given the purpose of the experience, which is just to tease an upcoming event or product or whatever, perhaps we tighten this up quite a bit and try to consolidate what we're trying to say into maybe one sentence. A teaser is supposed to be quick, it's supposed to be snappy, and it's supposed to be very visual. This content block is just feeling a little long, and I don't think people are going to make it through the whole thing. Let's try to consolidate it, right? That's a little more detailed than saying something like feels wordy, which we have all received before. I've been asked, can we make it look sexy? Make it pop. Yeah, we're just trauma dumping our feedback right now. That's incredible. Okay, so next tip, explain the why behind your feedback. And I would say, I don't know if I would rank them in terms of importance, but this one is probably the one that I personally feel is the most important. Because if we go back to why feedback is crucial in the design process, right? Communication, iteration, improvement, right? Alignment, that kind of stuff. And if we really focus particularly on the improvement side of things, if you're trying to help someone on your team improve, whether it's their skills or the design or both, just giving them feedback is like kind of a short-term fix. Like they can say, okay, roger that, I'll go fix it. But explaining the why behind the feedback that you're giving gives them more context that they can internalize for future projects. But also kind of like on a personal, like person to person level, it kind of like removes that like barrier, right? Because like it's easy to kind of become defensive when people are giving you a lot of feedback on your design. And if they're just saying things, right? It can easily become like you can easily become very defensive with that sort of thing. But if someone takes the time to be detailed in their feedback, but then also explain why they feel that way, then that should give you context into their point of view, their perspective, which I believe Jeff brought up, right? Because we want different perspectives. So if you get their perspective, they can relay that through the whys of their feedback. So if you just like got something that says needs to be more engaging, needs more visuals, make it sexy, that kind of stuff, like that's not helpful in any way. So giving the whys behind it, like I said, brings in their perspective, brings in their context and the grounds they have for presenting that feedback to you. And then for you, that makes it feel as though they're not just pointing fingers at different sections of the design. They're actually being thoughtful and they're trying to help you and the design improve. Uh, cool. So if they don't give a why, can you ask? We'll get to that, Sam, because that's a great question. The why also gives the designer an opportunity to come up with a better idea than what I'm suggesting. Yes, Meg Kramer, that is a very good point. And we're going to get to both of those. That's more like that in our side. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then the last one, obviously, kind of like ties into all these recent comments, is to be collaborative with your feedback, right? Um, as I mentioned, asking for design feedback can kind of be a vulnerable thing. And so if you're somewhat dismissive or shallow with your feedback, or just kind of like direction based, like do this, do this, do this, this, it's not really a great experience for the receiver. But being collaborative and trying to brainstorm different ideas, come up with different ideas, or say, hey, maybe try this out and let's see how it goes, something like that is very collaborative and it becomes a two-way street of communication, which then helps everyone improve, increases the innovation, everything that we've talked about. So being collaborative is a massive part of delivering design feedback. Don't just tell them to do something and expect them to go do it, but work with them, especially on tougher bits of feedback, right? For example, how many times have you heard feedback similar to this? We need to somehow include a step about signing up. Like they're just like telling you, figure it out, right? Instead, they could be more collaborative. Like maybe we move this here, maybe we add this here, maybe we think about this, right? Offering suggestions along with your feedback. So if it's like feedback, direct but thoughtful, backed up with the why they feel that way, and then backed up with some suggestions, is like top tier feedback that nobody would be intimidated by. So be collaborative with your feedback. All right, so let's look at it going the other way now. So tips for receiving effective design feedback. So tip one, and this is probably like, I would say the one of the most important ones, is to give context on your feedback. You shouldn't just send someone something out of the blue and then them not necessarily even know what they're looking at or why you're asking for the feedback. I mean, obviously they know you're asking for feedback, but without any sort of context, they're a little bit directionless on how they should approach giving you feedback, right? So good example of like giving context is say, hey, I'm working on blank. It's still got a long way to go, but here's the first draft. You mind checking on it just to see if I'm like in line with where we're trying to go. Not too focused right now on like the nitty gritty and the fine details, but just generally, is this the direction we should go, right? Giving some context there. Or maybe it's like, hey, I'm still putting this together. The visuals are kind of rough, but what do you think about the layout? Can you kind of focus on that, right? Or any other type of context that you feel like would be really good for your reviewers to understand and know. That is what you should include when presenting the feedback. So along with that is ask for specifics, right? So you've given the context of the feedback and then ask specifically for them to review certain parts of the design. Is it the copy? Is it the visuals? Is it the layout? Is it the flow, right? Um, it's smart to ask for specific points of feedback from specific designers or other collaborators or teammates, because then you can focus their energy on what you need feedback on the most. Because we've all sent broad feedback out there and it just turns into a massacre, right? Like you send it out to like 5 people and they're just like ripping it to shreds. And you have like 75 points of feedback and it just becomes disorganized and it's like becomes a rabbit hole and they're just focused on all these random things. Why not kind of guide them a little bit more and ask them specifically, hey, can you review the first half of this script, this video script, right? Or can we review the about section of this page? See if we're in line here. Asking for specifics guides your users and is a better use of their time and a better use of your time. Andrew says, I also always include the why. For example, let's change the color so that they can match their company's website. Yeah, exactly. On point, right? And going the other way, you can say specifically, hey, can you kind of check the colors here? I feel like I'm on brand, but I don't 100% know. They can be like, oh yeah, easy. Change this, this, and this. This is good. Yada, 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 right? Okay, along with that is ask for clarification. This is it's almost like a post-receiving feedback step that is just as crucial. Because sometimes, as someone mentioned a few comments ago, uh, if they don't give a why, Sam asks, if they don't give a why, can I ask for the why? This is exactly it, right? So let's say you're working on an article or a marketing piece or a blog post or something like that, and someone just says, needs visuals, right? Like that's not helpful in any way. You can then ask for the why, like, okay, I understand that, but can you help me understand uh, the purpose of the visuals, how it's going to like help out the design, and most importantly, what kind of visuals are you even suggesting, right? Like you can't just leave me with this open-ended like finger point. Like help me understand and be collaborative with me of what kind of visuals you have envisioned for this piece. Getting their perspective, like Jeff mentioned, right? So asking for clarification doesn't necessarily only mean asking for the why, but any type of feedback. There's a whole plethora of reasons why you might need to ask for clarification. Is it a language barrier? Is it a lack of detail? Is it just, sometimes things get lost in translation through text, right? Don't just look at their feedback like, okay, I'll kind of give that a try. If you are unsure of what they're talking about, let them know that you are unsure and ask for that clarification. This just opens up the communication much better and speeds up the whole process. Because if you were going to guess at what they're trying to say, like, or relay in their feedback, and then you get it wrong, we're starting back over. I'm like, no, 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 not that, not that, not that, right? So asking for clarification is your right as a receiver, so you can improve as a designer and as a collaborator. So don't be afraid to ask for clarification. It's your right. You should do it because you are the one asking for feedback. And then, of course, just like giving or delivering feedback, when you are receiving feedback, you should also be collaborative, right? Maybe you don't agree with the feedback, or maybe you don't fully understand, or maybe you don't quite get the image or the vision of how this feedback would be implemented. Collaborate with them. Like maybe we try this instead. I like where you're going with that idea. However, I feel like maybe it won't work because of XYZ. So maybe instead, what if we did this, right? Collaboration goes both ways. When you receive feedback, that doesn't mean what they say is law. They could be off base with their feedback, or it just needs a little back and forth to really find the actual right solution to go for. One that both parties are happy with, and that is the obvious direction for everybody to go. Even when they are mean, say thank you for your input. Yeah, tell them they're mean too. Lisa, let them know. But anyway, so collaboration goes both ways in design feedback, right? Don't just accept their feedback at face value and implement it because they say so. If you feel like you have concerns or need clarification, or maybe you have an idea based off of their idea, collaborate with them, communicate with them, right? One of those points that we, thank you, next. One of those points that we listed was innovation. The innovation comes from you look at their idea. Okay, yes, their idea is better than my idea, but this gives me an even better idea. Innovation based off of feedback. So be collaborative, going both directions. Okay, we're going to play a game. We're going to rate my recent feedback with my team. This was not staged, mind you. It just so happened that Alex and Pat, both on my team, uh, needed some feedback on some things. Okay. This was before I put the webinar together last night. So this was far before last night. And so retrospectively, we're going to rate how good I did. No one's perfect. Okay. I'm just going to preface it right here. No one is perfect at giving feedback. If you think about it, yeah, okay, sure. But no one is perfect in the moment. You got 1,000 things going on. So we're going to rate my feedback. And I asked for Alex and Pat's permission to do this. So I'm not just like whipping this out of nowhere, right? Feedback went two different ways. One of them is extremely funny. Very curious to see how people rate. Yeah, we need a rating scale. 1 to 5. No, 1 to 10. Yeah, 1 to 10. All right, so the first up is Alex's feedback. Again, I asked them, they're okay with me sharing this. So this was in the form of a markup. Alex put together a thumbnail for an upcoming webinar, right? And so she asked for feedback on how to improve the thumbnail. So in the markup, I've put only 5 comments here, but judging off of our criteria for delivering feedback, let's see how I did. So comment 1, should we open the comment section? That makes the design too small. So comment 1, when we're showcasing example projects from templates on thumbnails, which she's creating, we want to make sure we don't have any placeholder assets. So for this logo, let's either remove it, replace logo with a pseudo company name, or cover it up with UI, like this thing, right? When we have placeholders on display, it makes the design we're showcasing feel incomplete. So we want to avoid that the best that we can. Was I direct but thoughtful? Caitlin says yes. Okay. All right. Did I do a good enough job of supplying the why? All right. 9 out of 10, Liana says. She's just docking me 1 point. All right. So that was a good one. All right. Let's move on. Where's number 2, Alex? Oh, here. Okay. Okay. Same thing with the placeholder text. We want to portray a complete and premium design. So let's either swap out the text or move the design down so the text is out of frame. Probably could have been a little more detailed, but I feel like I was direct with while still being thoughtful and nice. It's giving thoughtful, says Travis. Totally gives me a 9.5, 9.2. All right, now we're getting into decibels. Okay, so let's move on to 3. This is a big one. Okay. I say we go with a screenshot for okay, so for context, this is kind of like the whole point of the design is to portray organizing a project, right? So I say we go with a screenshot of the actual Studio Eye here. That will help viewers make a visual connection to the product. Also, the dark gray background of the container sort of blends in with the design behind it. Using the Studio UI will make it pop. I also suggest having the UI partially floating off the design so the 2 elements appear to overlap. That'll help separate the UI elements a little bit better and employ some anti-alignment. If you took intro design, you know what I'm talking about for visual interest. Check out the example I've attached here. Let's see. So this is like what I was referring to, like having it overlap using the actual Studio UI and breaking the alignment by kind of having them like stack on top of each other. How did I do? It's giving Hollister. It's giving collaborative, giving bestie. All right, we won't look at the other ones, but okay, I feel like I did a decent job. Alex received the feedback extremely well in a collaborative way. She came up with like 4 or 5 different variants, and then we decided together on the right one to produce, which you can find somewhere down here. So go check that out and register for the webinar while you're at it. Okay, so great job, Alex. Alex is like a top tier feedback receiver in all ways. So great job, Alex. So this, you gotta understand mine and Pat's relationship. Pat and I have known each other for a very, very long time, and we're extremely good friends. We've known each other before we even worked together. So So this is, and I got Pat's permission to share these messages, but Pat, I will accept my folly here. Pat sent me a markup, and I didn't put my feedback in the markup. What was I thinking? I don't know. Nobody's perfect, right? But in my defense, okay, there's no defense. So here's the conversation of how it went. So it's still considering that I didn't leave the feedback in the markup like I should have. Here was the conversation. Beat Bloodborne, 10 out of 10 game once you get past the 30 frames per second and dips. And then he sends me a markup. Object states video is ready for review. And then an hour later, dude, just type. I'm gonna snap, hit enter. Then I said, your impatience with snack typing or typing is lately is crazy. He's like, it's been 10 minutes on and off typing. He catches my peripherals. It drives me crazy. This is where you're supposed to leave your feedback in markup, so you're not driving your teammates crazy. And so I said in all caps, do you want a detailed message or a looks good, maybe add groups? And then I relay the nice message. This is what we're trying to portray here. Wooey, the Object States video. That's the best Object States video I've seen to date. Really good. The only thing I think we should consider adding is a section about groups and use groups as trigger for things like buttons. I think you do a great job of laying the foundation and explaining it in a simple way. So I wonder if we build on that. So at the timestamp, I kind of like put some beats on what we could include script-wise. That's technically our best practice, so I feel like we should include it somehow. Do you think that's too much for this video and it should be a follow-up, or should it add, or should add it, typos all over the place, or should add it on so people get the whole thing in one view? So basically, this is what I think we should do. Should be 2 videos or 1. Pat says, appreciate the feedback, very helpful. Now I'll be retyping for the next 10. But for real, my gut reaction is to break it up. We see a steep drop off once we get past the 2.5 mins, according to YouTube analytics. See Pat being collaborative? Yeah, maybe we do a follow-up that covers groups and interactions. Love it. Okay. Rate mine and Pat's collaborativeness. Great teamwork, says Meg. Thank you. Okay. So the moral of this story is I should just put the feedback in the markup. That's on me, right? Timing is 3 out of 10. Feedback is 10 out of 10. Jeez. Pat receiving. Oh boy, 10 out of 10 actually. Okay, 1 out of 10. Whoa. Liliana's roasting you, Pat. But we were collaborative. I feel like we were collaborative. Looking back, we were collaborative and we came up with a solution together, right? Pat wasn't just like, okay, cool, add it to the video. He said, no, we have, like the analytics show, we have a drop off after a certain time. So anything after that might not get viewed. And if that's best practices, we need people to view it. So I say we break it up. Cool. And that's what we did. Is that an essay or a feedback? All right, so that is what we had to cover. We have 3 minutes left, so we're going to jump right into the March Creative Challenge. If you have to hop before we get through it all, no worries. You can always review the challenge on Educate afterwards. But I tried to tie it into feedback the best I could, but I couldn't find a way that was like that wasn't like clunky and like too many steps. I was trying to incorporate markup somehow, but then I just decided to remove it altogether. So it's semi-related to feedback, but it's not giving feedback, okay? So let's jump right into it. Someone's talking about Promise Consort Radon. Beat him solo with the sword lance that you get from the dude on the rhino. And then I think Pat actually beat Promise Consort Radon at like Soul Level 1 or something like that. Pretty insane. Pat's very good at Elden Ring. All right, so besides the point, let's talk about our March Creative Challenge. Intro. Anna's February Creative Challenge got me feeling a little nostalgic. So I've decided for March, we're going back to 2011 to redesign my first ever design project. It sucks. All right. So fresh out of high school, I got my first design job at a print shop that specialized in sports team marketing, collateral, and apparel. Our services included screen printing, printing large signs and banners, embroidery, and associated designs, designing the prints, designing the banners, yada, yada, yada. At the time, the company was called Top to Bottom, but has since been bought and sold a bunch of times, so I don't actually know what it's called anymore. Regardless, my first design project at the company was to create a booklet that overviews the company and its services. The booklet was printed and then displayed like at the storefront, but as well at booths at sporting events. So the company would go to like swim meets, track meets, basketball tournaments, that kind of stuff with a booth, like, hey, here's where you can get your designs printed, right? Makes sense. So we'd have a bunch of booklets that they could read through and look at to see like what the services for the company were. At the time, I thought I created a masterpiece. I was 18. Looking back after all these years, it's obvious that the design needs some serious help. That's where the March Creative Challenge comes in. Your challenge is to redesign the booklet into a mobile experience in studio while up-leveling every aspect of the design. Why mobile layout? Because times have changed since 2011. And if this piece were still in circulation being used, it would be more effective for the company to have a QR code that people scan and then open up an interactive piece than it would be to spend money printing out tons and tons of these booklets, right? So the use case is the same. We're just adapting it to 2025 rather than 2011. So you'll have complete freedom to design the mobile experience however you see fit. You can do things like rewrite the copy. I wrote it and it's probably bad. Develop new color schemes and brand assets, incorporate fresh visuals, even come up with a new company name and logo since Top to Bottom is no more. The main thing is to ensure that the mobile experience, that it is a mobile experience that best captures your target audience, right? How you do that is totally up to you, so have fun and take risks. You can download the booklet here, right? I'll just try to view it in there. Sometimes the viewer is a little funky. But you can download the booklet here. Look at this beaut. It's taking forever to load. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. Look at this. Look at this absolutely beautiful design. It's a booklet. It's actually kind of light on content now that I look at it. The viewer is being a little funky, so download it for reference. Oops. Download it for reference, and then redesign the booklet into a mobile experience serving the same purpose. Submission, you'll have until April 3rd to complete this design challenge and post your published experience in a comment below. Then we'll hold our next creative challenge and celebrate your submissions like we did today. Upon completion, you will earn the Print is Dead badge. It's a QR code. Baseline cleverness, but we'll go with it. Kaylee likes it. All right. So does the badge scan anything? You know, I almost did a QR code to like the Saros Educate Design Challenge, but then it got a little complicated because I needed like the little scan things to be bigger. Since the badge is small, a lot of fine detail doesn't really show up well, so I needed it to be chunkier, so it does not actually go anywhere. But you'll receive the QR code badge, the Print is Dead badge, if you complete your design challenge by April 3rd. So, in a recap, this is my first ever design project. It's bad. It needs to be fixed and updated for a modern audience via a mobile interactive experience. You have free reign to redesign it and add and include and change and do whatever you want. Submit it by April 3rd, earn the community badge. We'll have our next Creative Challenge webinar. Look at your designs. All right. Thank you for staying 3 minutes after the hour with us. Big shout out for all of those of you who had a course today and stuck around for an hour and 3 minute webinar afterwards. Really, really excited to see the submissions for this so you can improve young Dallin's work from way back when. Thanks so much for sticking around. I hope you learned some good things about receiving and delivering design feedback, and your collaboration going forward is much better.